Hello guys, I'm Chitrang Dikshit and today we will see web development with Python Flask. Python Flask is used along with WebSock and Jinja 2. So Flask is a micro framework in Python. So it is an MVC, model view and controller. We have the model, the data which would surround our application always. There are some views of the data and some controller functions that would control the flow of pages or routes in our application. Now here is WebSock. WebSock is a WSGI utility library. What WSGI is it initializes your Python interpreter and then when the web server gets started. Other is Jinja 2. Jinja 2 is a templating language for Python. So under the HTML template, we would use Jinja 2 as we pass on our objects from a Python file to an HTML file. This Jinja 2 would be helpful to make those objects recognizable in our HTML pages. Now let's get started. This is my terminal. I've made a new folder named Flask Test. The best way to use Python Flask is to make first a virtual environment. So you should have installed this utility named virtual env. So what it would do, it would initialize a virtual environment of a Python. So I'm making this Flask virtual, and when I hit enter, it is making a virtual environment and it is done. So it has made Flask virtual environment. So it has all deeds of Python. So I can view my Python installation over here. I have several utilities of Python and all modules installed inside packages. So I've just easy installed setup tools and pip installed in my modules packages, side packages. So let's install Python Flask. So to use a virtual environment, to install anything in virtual environment, what we would use is name first the virtual environment, then bin and easy install Flask. So what it does, it would install Flask with its dependencies. So Flask dependency would be WebSock and Jinja 2. So I am pressing enter, it's searching for Python Flask. Now as the command gets finished, all the dependencies of Python Flask has been installed. One is markup safe, then WebSock, Jinja 2, it's dangerous, and Flask. All has been installed in Flask virtual. So now activate our virtual environment. To activate our virtual environment, there's a command named source Flask virtual bin and activate. Oops. This is my terminal. Now when I hit enter, the Flask virtual environment has been activated. Now I make up a new Flask app, but before that we would check that has Flask been installed in our Python or not. So just type Python and then import Flask. Yes, Python has been installed. Flask has been installed in our virtual environment. So make up a simple application. I'm making a simple app to test is Flask working properly with all its dependencies or not. So just type nano app.flask app.py. So this is Flask app.py. I'm writing some code from Flask import Flask. I'm naming my app first app. App.route with his index. F name is equals to main then app.run. I save this. I come out of this, and from a Linux terminal just run python flask app.py. When I hit enter, it would run up the server at the localhost with port 5000. So I would open up this link and yes, it is working properly. Press Ctrl 3, then nano again to view our code. So this was our simple code to run our very first Flask application. We can add up more things later on, but for now please have a look at the code. So I'm importing a Flask class that takes up some name, which would be our application name. It would be a brand name or something like that, you can say that. And at app root slash means at the default at app root, which would load up when our application would run at the very first time. It should print out yes, it is working. Right, now I add up some more app routes. So at the app.route next, I define next route return oh yes, it is next. So just remember the program. At the app root slash, it is yes, it is working, and when I type slash next, it would give us the message oh yes, it is the next. So I am saving this, coming out of this, running the Flask app, usually python space flask app.py. When I hit enter, it would start up the web server. I would open up the link and see over here, this is actually the root. So localhost, this is root. When I press slash and then refresh the page, it would open up the app.route slash. But when I put a slash and then next, it would show up the next message that we have typed in. So yes, it has shown up the next message, which was oh yes, it is the next. So this was all about our very first application, a beginner application in Python Flask. Hope you have enjoyed and learned some new stuff. Please try out with making more routes at your own. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.